Coach Antoine here from Modern Sapien Fitness, and in today's video we're going to be going over why you're not losing weight and a 4-step plan to make that happen. Before we get started, we have to get clear on what is it you want, and we have to be clear on this goal. Now, although I titled this video why you're not losing weight, are you sure that it's just weight you want to lose? Or do you want to change your body composition? What's a body composition? Well, it's the composition of your body, a combination of muscle, fat. Do you just want that number on the scale to go down, or do you want to see some definition in your arms? Would you like a flat stomach, maybe see some abs? Because there's a difference. And there's 4 points that I really want to go over here. So first you have to understand that weight consists of more than just fat. When we're talking about weight, we're talking about fat, which you want to get rid of. We're also talking about muscle, connective tissue, water, the food that's still in you, bone. All of that comes from your weight, but you want to lose fat. And the thing you have to keep in mind is that it is possible to lose fat but not necessarily lose weight. And this is why focusing on a change in body composition rather than simply the number on the scale is going to be super important. I've seen happen time and time again when I've had clients who have lost minimal amounts of weight, but they got flat stomachs. They have definition in their arms, legs. They look like a whole new person, but the number on the scale did not go down that much. And that's because we lost fat, but we were also building muscle. So remember, you want fat loss, not just weight loss. And this brings us to our next point. To improve your body composition, you want to lose fat, not just weight. Because let's assume you wanted to lose 10 pounds. If you lose 10 pounds of muscle, you will look very different versus losing 10 pounds of fat. And this is why it's important that you don't only rely on the scale to monitor fat loss. Now, the scale is good to let you know how much weight you've lost, and you should see the number on the scale go down over long time periods, but you want to make sure you're using different methods on top of that. You want to make sure you're taking measurements. Measure your waist, measure your legs, measure your arms. You also want to take photos. Pictures do not lie. And when you take your photos, you want to make sure you are always taking them under the same conditions. Same pose, same light, same clothes. This way you can see the little details that'll be changing over time. So now that we're clear on fat loss as the goal and not weight loss, let's dive a little deeper into the plan. Now, you need to get your food right. This is going to be so crucial if you want to lose body weight. So what do I mean when I say get your food right? Is, are you in a calorie deficit? And a calorie deficit quite simply means that the energy from food that you're taking in, you are burning more of that throughout your day than you are eating. Without a calorie deficit, you will not lose weight, let alone fat. So this is something you have to get right first. And there's many methods you can use. You know, there are calorie calculators such as MyFitnessPal, free ones you can find online. But the best way to do this, in my opinion, is to track how much food you've been eating. And I don't want you to try to make any changes. Just eat normally and then track those calories. Do it over the course of a week. And then whatever the average of that number is, I want you to then subtract 500 from it. Now, here's the second part. Now we know that we're in a calorie deficit, you have to make sure you are getting enough protein. Because remember, we don't want to just lose weight. We want to lose fat. And if you're not getting in enough protein, as you're losing weight, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. And if you lose muscle, not only will you end up looking skinny fat, but your metabolism is going to drop like a rock, which is going to make it difficult to lose any more weight, let alone keep it off once you've hit your goal. Now, how much protein should you get? For most people, you want to get roughly 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, if you're somebody who is obese, then I'd recommend eating 1 gram per pound of lean mass. So there's scales that'll let you know what your lean body weight is, and then that'll help get you on the right track. Now here's the third part. Are you positive you are in a calorie deficit? AKA tracking your food properly. This is where 90% of people get it wrong. They swear they're in a calorie deficit. I've been on countless consults where people tell me, Coach, I'm in a calorie deficit, but I'm not losing weight. And then I'll ask them, how many calories have you been eating? And then they start fumbling. I used to track. Used to track? How do you know you're in a calorie deficit? Well, I cut out meat and I stopped drinking sodas. But maybe you started eating more nuts, for example, right? Or maybe you went keto and you're having a lot of fatty foods that are high calorie. So you have to make sure you are tracking, and I'd recommend weighing the foods you track. That way you can be sure with the amount of calories that you're eating. You want to get that part right. And then we have the fourth part here, which I don't think is covered enough. Are your food choices high quality? And what I mean by high quality is nutrient dense. Now, it is possible to lose weight eating things like Pop-Tarts, snacks, cookies, and then just have some protein powder. You can do that. But it's going to be very, very difficult to do that long term. You want to make sure that you are eating healthy foods, and there's a couple reasons for this. The first, foods that tend to be nutrient dense, they also tend to be high in fiber. Not to mention, there's another part we're going to get into, which is the training. If you are not a healthy individual, your body is going to have a hard time performing well, being able to lose that fat, hold on to that muscle, and look great at the end of this. So you want to make sure you are not malnourished. Not to mention that when you're in a calorie deficit, nutrients become even more important because by definition, if you're in a calorie deficit, this means you are eating less food than your body needs to maintain itself. So you have to make sure that the food you are choosing are packed full of vitamins, fiber, minerals, protein. This is going to be key because you don't want to be sick and skinny. And this is a great segue for the next part of our game plan. We have to make sure you are moving right. And there's really 3 points we're going to be going over here. So the first thing is we want to beat NEAT. Now, NEAT means non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is basically all non-conscious movement. Now, the reason why I'm saying you want to beat it is that when you are in a calorie deficit, especially for a while, your body will unconsciously make you move less. And what this is going to do is cause you to burn less calories throughout the day. So how do we combat this? The way we combat this is by making sure we are actively moving more in ways that are simple. So one thing I recommend is by setting a step count. See how many steps you're walking currently. And you want to make sure that over time, that number is not going down. How do we have being able to battle the decrease in NEAT covered? We need to talk about resistance training. Now, resistance training, this is training with weights, bands, machines, body weight. And you want to do this making sure that you are using progressive overload. What I see far too many people do is that they'll go to the gym or they'll do their home workout and they'll be using resistance, right? You know, maybe you're doing body weight squats or you're doing dumbbell curls. And let's say you always go in and you do 3 sets of 10. But if you're never progressively overloading the exercise, and that means making it more difficult by some metric, your body is not going to change. You should be getting better at the exercises. And the only way to get better is by pushing yourself, by doing more than you did the week prior. Now, why is this important for fat loss? Well, the main reason is that as you are in a deficit, your body is going to want to lose weight, right? So weight comes from everything. It's fat, muscle, connective tissue. We want to make sure we're holding on to our muscle. The way you do that is 1, hitting your protein goal, which we've covered, but 2, giving your muscles a reason to stay. Muscle is expensive for your body to hold on to. So if it finds that you aren't really pushing it, forcing it to, let's say, keep large biceps or hold on to nice toned legs, it won't keep it. So you have to use progressive overload that tells your body, okay, we better lose the fat and not the muscle because it's been training us hard. So it's important that you are using progressive overload. This is something that you cannot miss. And then the third point is going to be cardio training. Yes, you want to do your cardio if you want to lose fat. And really what it comes down to is with cardio, the more fit you are, the more calories you can burn. So let's say you're not too fit and you decide to use the treadmill to burn some extra calories. Let's say you want to burn 500 calories. It could maybe take you an hour and a half to burn that amount of calories if you're not too fit. But let's say you keep on working at that treadmill. You start walking faster. You can go at a higher incline. Before you know it, you will be so fit that you'll be able to burn the same amount of calories, but in a half an hour. And then for the fourth, and this is the most important part. So we're not going to do any more PowerPoint. I'm just going to talk to you. This is getting your mind right. This is where most people fail. Getting your mind right is super important. So for one, you have to be clear on your goal. So I know earlier I talked about fat loss versus weight loss, but I'm talking about more specific than that. Why is it you want to change your body composition? What I found, and I've trained well over 1,000 people, my most successful clients are the ones who connect deeply with why they are doing this. You want a deep reason. You know, maybe you're getting married and you want to make sure you look awesome in what you're going to be wearing. This is a serious reason. This is something that can help you push through the discomfort of losing body fat. Because I'm not going to lie to you. You know, as a coach, I do my best to make it as enjoyable of a process as possible. But dieting's not fun. Exercise for many people is not fun. But these things have to happen to be able to reach that point. And if you're going to be able to do this for, let's call it 3, 6 months, maybe a year, you need to have a powerful reason why. Now, let's say you don't have an event coming up. Maybe you're not getting married. Maybe it's not a graduation. You know, if it's not something like that, I want you to take a look at yourself. Why do you want to become different? Why do you want to lose that belly fat? Why do you want to tighten up your arms? You know, is it because you had a scary doctor's visit? Maybe you're pre-diabetic now, right? You want to make sure that you can be here in the future, right? Maybe you have kids. Maybe you've seen your parents have heart attacks at the age of 50 and you want to avoid that. Or, you know, I think one of the most common reasons is that you just don't like how you look. You know, you don't like to look at yourself naked in the mirror. So you have low confidence. You want to be able to build that up. So you need to be real with why you are doing this. And you want to write it down. And then you want to write down how your life will be better because you are going on this journey. So now that we've connected with your reason why, there's some other things you have to prepare yourself for. Know that as you're going along this journey, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. So what you're going to be doing is sacrificing short-term gratification. So short-term gratification could be, I'm feeling lazy right now, so I'm not going to exercise. You know, I'd rather go out and spend some money on drinks than invest inside a coach because I'd rather pay for fun right now. So short-term, you're going to sacrifice those things for that long-term vision. And I'm going to make those sacrifices because I finally want to get to a point where I can strip down naked, look at myself and say, whew, I am hot. And these things are worth it. All right. So you have to really get yourself into a long-term mindset. It's also going to come down to the food. A lot of people try to trick their ways through diets, trying to find ways to sneak in as many snacks as they can to make eating food as delicious as possible while they're on this journey. And far too often it ends up backfiring. You have to be focused on the journey. And you have to be willing to carve out time for this. When it comes to exercise, you need to have sacred time to get it done. You know, maybe you have a full-time job and kids, but you also currently hate how you look. You have to make the time for it. So once you've gotten your mind right, then it makes it so much easier to do everything else. Now, what are some tips that you can do to help get your mind right? So I gave you one about being clear on your vision, all right? But something else you can do comes down to accountability. Accountability is where most people end up failing. And there's so many places you can get it. You know, one thing you can do is you can find free communities on Facebook. You know, there's so many resources out there. You can tell somebody very close to you that you are starting this fitness journey and you want to talk to them about what's going on. Ask them to hold you accountable. If you don't live by yourself and you have a family, let them know what you are doing and ask them to help you. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and ask for help. If you have good people in your life, they are going to be happy to be there for you. And if you don't, then that's where something like a coach can be very, very useful. You know, something I do for my clients, so I hold them accountable. So, you know, I'm firm, but I'm also their biggest cheerleader. So maybe reaching out to a professional who can help keep you on track. And then when you do that, the other steps that I brought up, they are going to go smoothly. You're going to lose that fat, have your body composition being something you can be proud of, and reach your goal. All right, guys, that is it for today's training. I hope this was helpful for you. So if you need help with coaching, remember, Coach Antoine. I am a coach. And if you need help, you can find me on Facebook. My name is Antoine D. Lindsay. Just shoot me a direct message. You can also find me on Instagram. The name is _Modern Sapien. I'm also on TikTok, same username. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just drop a comment in the comment section. I'll try to get back to you. Take care.